Picture yourself a 40,000-year-old skeleton. In its hands, a shell dyed red with ochre. Beside its hip, a spear point, placed there on purpose. Someone gave this dead body a weapon, jewelry, gifts, after they were already gone. Was this a farewell present, or was it something else entirely? A bribe? Were the living so terrified of the dead coming back that they had to keep them happy in the grave? 50,000 years ago, inside a human skull just like yours, there was a brain wired almost exactly like ours. Same fears, same sleepless nights, same unanswerable question. So how different, or how eerily similar, was their fear of death compared to ours? 30 to 40,000 years ago, when our ancestors lived in the forests and caves of Europe and Asia, death was part of everyday life. But that didn't mean they were numb to it. If anything, the evidence tells us the opposite. Archaeologists digging in Sungir, Russia, uncovered the graves of two young children buried head to toe in thousands of tiny ivory beads. Each bead took hours to carve by hand. Between the two children, there were roughly 10,000 beads in total. Think about that. In a world where finding your next meal was the biggest daily struggle, someone poured countless hours of labor into decorating the dead. This wasn't just grief. This was a deep, organized belief that something continued after death. Something worth investing in. But was that belief born from love or from fear? This is where the story gets strange. In many ancient graves, bodies weren't just laid down peacefully. They were bent, folded, and sometimes pinned under heavy stones. This wasn't just to save space. Many researchers believe this was a form of fear that the dead might come back. In the world of ancient humans, death wasn't just a quiet absence. It was a force that had to be controlled. If the rituals weren't done correctly, people believed the spirit of the dead would wander, or bring bad luck to the entire group. And here's where a major difference between us and them starts to show. Today, we fear death mostly because of what we personally stand to lose. Our life, our relationships, our future. But for ancient humans, one person's death was a threat to the entire tribe. One less hunter, weaker protection, a spiritual world that might now be angry. That's why death rituals weren't just for the individual who died. They were survival strategies for the whole community. And then there's an even stranger twist: Neanderthals. Yes, it wasn't only Homo sapiens who buried their dead. In Shanidar Cave in Iraq, researchers found ancient burials containing traces of flower pollen, leading some scientists to suggest the dead may have been buried with flowers. That specific theory has since been debated and challenged by other researchers. But one thing remains clear: honoring the dead, grieving the dead, and fearing the dead. These aren't unique inventions of our species. They may stretch back hundreds of thousands of years, to something deeply, fundamentally human, or even pre-human. So did ancient humans see death as the end or as a doorway? The answer might be hiding in their cave art. In the Lascaux caves of France, paintings show humans alongside animals, sometimes blended together, half human, half beast. Many experts believe these images represent a spiritual journey or a belief in some kind of other world. In other words, for ancient humans, death may not have meant total disappearance. It may have meant transformation. So what's the biggest difference between their fear and ours? Maybe it's this. Today we often face death alone, in hospital rooms, in quiet, distant moments. But for ancient humans, death was a shared experience. The entire tribe grieved together, decorated the body together, performed the rituals together. Maybe that's exactly why their fear, as intense as it was never quite as lonely as ours. Today, when we dig up the graves of our ancestors, we're not just uncovering bones. We're uncovering the roots of a fear that still lives inside every one of us. 40,000 years have passed, and yet the question hasn't changed at all. What happens after death? So next time you place flowers on someone's grave, remember, you're repeating a ritual that's 40,000 years old. The question is, are you doing it purely out of love? Or is there still a little bit of that ancient fear buried inside you too? Let me know in the comments.